Welcome back, players and fans of minor league esports. It is the final matchup of the night. This stream is brought to you by 8 p.m. Music. We're moving it up to Premier League to finish off the night here. Lovely Saturday. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Premier League finishing out the night. Pandas in the Shadow. I am your host, Pandy. Alongside me is Wasabiaki.
Hey, Pandy, how you doing tonight?
Absolutely banging, but this series Wasabiaki is going to be a fantastic one to finish out the night. The Pandas and the Shadow, two very top teams in PL, especially in the 2v2 circuit, but this is twos tonight, so this is a very big game for the Shadow and the Pandas. The Pandas coming in here as your 1 seed at 11-4 in 2v2s. And the Shadow coming in just behind them at 10-5. So this is a 1 and 2 seed matchup for Premier League 2s, and I just cannot wait for this thing to begin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Pandas had a really great week last week. Really big win over the PL Rhinos. Nice divisional matchup tonight, Pandas versus the Shadow. I'm real excited to see what happens. Yeah,
it's going to be Knuckle and Yellow representing the Pandas. It is their first time at seeing the field this season in twos. It has been Yeezy and Alizai carrying the squad in 2v2s thus far, so a little change of pace for them. We'll see how they can continue what Yeezy and Alizai have set up for them as far as the first place standing goes, but the Shadow are looking to take them down here. They're having less of a good season in threes, and their twos is their spotlight, so the Shadow are definitely looking to continue some success that they have seen so far throughout this season. So it's going to be Amp and Prosperity, two very strong players for the Shadow, and this series is definitely going to be a grudge match of the century.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward. I hope both teams come out real exciting. Looking for that hot flying energy. As a lonely FL player, it's always great to commentate on leagues higher than me. I get super excited watching what I'm sure you're used to seeing every day in PL, but yeah, I know I'm looking for the flair, you may say, tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic matchup as both these teams are going to be looking to play as fast as humanly possible. Sorry about that, folks. We may have a lobby reset here as the silly match official Pandy decided to make a mistake there. But again, this is going to be a fantastic matchup now as we are going to have a remake with... Yeah, we'll just... sorry, just 1 second. Wasabiaki, if you don't mind.
I'm already on it.
But we will have a matchup once again between Premier League Pandas and the Shadow coming at you here in just a second, as we will have a lobby remake once again. Technical difficulties on the back end is once again MLE, brought to you by 8 p.m. Music. Coming right at you again. Last matchup of the night. Premier League. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Once again, the Pandas and the Shadow looking to get this thing started. As we may have had a false start in the last one, but we will get started here in just a moment. Like I said. And there we go.
We're having a really great night in Rocket League because mine just crashed.
Well, despite that, we will get started here in just a moment. Once again, Knuckle and Yellow looking to continue success they've seen earlier from this season. The Shadow, again, looking to take them down. It is Pandas 1 seed, the Shadow at 2 seed, looking to absolutely slaughter their opponents here. But it's going to be a very close series. I'm expecting a 3-2, a 4-1. I definitely don't expect this one to be lopsided in any way, as both these teams are looking to have the top honor in PL, especially here in 2v2. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic matchup. Just both teams again looking to just fight it out, and
I'm all in and set to go. Yep. Looks like all the players are getting themselves situated.
Yeah, we are going to have another test lobby here. All right.
Right, yeah. Sorry about the delays here, folks. I know you guys are just as excited as we are to get this Panda Shadow game underway. We are working as fast as we possibly can to get everything situated for you, to bring you some high-flying Rocket League action this late Saturday night.
Late Saturday night, definitely, as we are just a few minutes behind. Again, apologies for that, but we have a Premier League matchup coming right at you here in just a couple moments. Pandas and the Shadow once again, as we will finally here get started in just a minute. But again, some keys to success here for 2v2 as we can finally kind of dive into some gameplay talk instead of just waiting for this one to begin. But again, 2v2, this is Premier League. So these teams are going to be the top of MLE. GC2 plus to low SSL is definitely what these guys are looking at here. They're definitely going to be really prominent in the air. They're going to be playing really physical, especially between, we know that the Pandas are definitely very strong in the physical aspect of the game, especially because Yeezy and Alizai, they play so quick. But this is Knuckle and Yellow, so they're definitely going to be wanting to continue that reign that their teammates have started out for them this season. But the Shadow, again, are looking to play as mechanical as possible. They're going to play really, this team is very strong on the ground. So Amp and Prosperity are going to try and play physical. They're going to win the 50 game. And it's going to be a big test here for the Pandas to hold on to their first seed honor thus far. But Knuckle and Yellow are fast playing players. So it's going to be a tough one.
Not to cut you off, but let me just pick your brain as a PL player, especially being FL myself. Now, as you were talking about Alizé and Yeezy being their predominant twos players on the Pandas team, with Yellow and Knuckle coming in, do you think they try and keep the pace that the Pandas are used to playing in twos, or do you think they come in and they slow it down a little bit? Do they play their own game, or do they try and walk in the shoes of what has been dominating for their team thus far?
I think they're definitely going to be playing off their opponent here. They know what they can do. They know how Yeezy and Alizai have set them up for this season. But Prosperity is a veteran of this league. Amp is a new player, so they may be a little bit tougher to read, but the Shadow are definitely close knit together. They're going to be tough to take down here. They are definitely a really strong team to play against, especially because they are second in the league currently. But I think definitely Yellow and Knuckle are going to be trying to play off of how Prosperity leads their team here in this one. Prosperity, like I said, is particularly on the ground. He's going to be strong in the 50 game. He's going to be physical. So I think the Pandas are just looking to respond to that, because a lot of players know how Prosperity plays. And even then, he's still a really strong player, really tough player to beat in MLE. But I definitely, to answer your question, I definitely think the Pandas are going to be playing around how the Shadow are looking to continue this game. But I definitely think the Pandas are looking to start this one out as quickly as possible and kind of take the wheel from the start.
Awesome. Thank you for that insight. For anybody out there thinking the same thing that I was, I appreciate that.
But finally, just after a few minutes here of some technical difficulties, we have begun the series here, Premier League, between the Pandas and the Shadow. It has finally begun. We begin game one. Absolutely,
and a great kickoff in favor of the Shadow. Prosperity is trying to get across midfield. Yellow is there to touch the ball. Prosperity is going to take it up and around the wall. Amp is looking to get a touch on it. Weird touch off of the wall. Yellow's going to come across midfield, but Amp is going to get a touch on it. Ball goes into the Pandas' corner.
A Prosperity just trying to continue some offense. Already started here from the Shadow. It seems like the Shadow are definitely starting to play as quickly as they can. Their Amp jumps on top of that ball. It was a little bit free there in the midfield, as this ball has been kind of just sitting in between the both posts here so far in this one. His ball has been residing midfield, but there's a controlled demo there from Yellow. It's going to give Knuckle a chance to kind of get some boost. Restart here for the Pandas, but some demos coming out from Yellow. Is going to open up the net. Holy cow, there's a midfield pass to Yellow, and what a play for the Pandas to start out the scoring.
Wow, absolutely great play by Yellow and Knuckle. Yellow literally just went on a three-card demo, opened the entire field up. Knuckle, great foresight in seeing the player coming in to pass the ball across to the midfield. Yellow just had a real open net, was able to score. And like you said, Pandas are coming out fast in this first game, and they take a score of 1-0.
Exclamation point POTW for a chance at winning a case of balls. Garana play of the week chance there from Yellows. That was a beautiful play from her. 3 demos on that play to open up the net for Knuckle, but Pandas off the kickoff, looking to continue back at work now, but the Shadow looking to control the ball there in their own corner. Yellow can't necessarily find the touch past Prosperity there. As we mentioned, he's going to be really strong in 50s, but Knuckle again presenting a lot of pressure for the Pandas as Prosperity headed back the other way, going to force some pressure there on Yellow, but controlled touch is going to send it back in the corner, but a huge 50 from Amp. It's going to force some pressure there for Knuckle on the net as Yellow. This would be last back for the Pandas, looking to start some counterattack offense for this team in green, but Prosperity once again holds strong in the corner, stands tall in front of Knuckle, challenging them. Their midfield, Amp just can't find the touch. Now Prosperity off the side wall, but again, the Pandas are doing a great job of disrupting this Shadow the Shadow team thus far. Is it seems like their team chemistry is definitely something that is on point thus far. Is the Shadow definitely, again, as we have mentioned this entire first 15 minutes or so, is that the Shadow are going to be really tough to beat. Their team chemistry is super good, but the Pandas just playing super fast, really physical, starting to disrupt this play.
Right, nice bump there by Yellow, trying to get the ball across to Knuckle. Knuckle just unable to come up with it. Yellow is taking it off of the back wall now. Sets up a nice shot for Knuckle. Knuckle gets the post!
What was that?
I have to watch the
bump.
replay. Yeah, oh my God. That was a great setup by Yellow to get the ball to Knuckle. Knuckle gets a nice shot on the ball. Unfortunately, comes up just a little shy, hits the inside post. Ricochets back across to the other, and Yellow's just able to finish it. Great play. I mean, confusing as F, but great play by the Pandas to stick with it. Great for Yellow, and great 50 for Yellow there as he just goes ahead and gets another goal for his team.
I'd like to back up there, as that was a double own pool shot.
Yep.
That both players from the Shadow bumped a player from the Pandas, and both of those shots were on net. I've never seen that before. Yellow, fantastic response off the kickoff, getting the Pandas a third goal here. The Shadow looking to just kind of bounce back, as that one's kind of a head scratcher to start this game, but 2.5 minutes elapsed now. 3-goal lead for the Pandas, and definitely presenting a lead that we have kind of expected to happen, especially with how prominent the Pandas are definitely in the offensive department of the game. But Prosperity looking to get some offense started here for the Shadow. Amp just run through there by Knuckle, as it's a great demo, kind of diffusing some pressure. Definitely Yellow's gonna have a chance here on offense, looking for a solo air dribble. Now the touch off the backboard, not gonna be good enough to get it past Amp, but that ball just kind of loose in front of the net. This Prosperity's gonna scoop it up and make it clear.
Yeah, he's able to get it past Knuckle. Knuckle stays in the zone though and gets it off the sidewall. Prosperity trying to get it past midfield. Yellow is flying with him. Nice touch by Amp, puts a shot on net. Great save by Knuckle to deflect it into his own corner, but Amp is there. Knuckle takes the back wall, bounces the ball out to the front of his net. Yellow's going to take it around the horn. Prosperity is trying to chase it down, but Amp is trying to give him an opportunity at the ball. Right now, the Shadow are just getting a lot of good shot opportunities on the net, but the Pandas are doing a really great job defensively, keeping the ball away from the Shadow as Knuckle and Yellow are trying to take it across midfield. Slight double commit there by the Pandas, and the Shadow are going to try and take a great opportunity on this as Amp gets a touch off the back wall. Unfortunately, Prosperity is not there. Prosperity has to get the ball away from his net. But the Panthers are just doing everything that they possibly can to keep the pressure there. Redirect off the sidewall. Amp is there to save the net. Nobody home. Yellow kind of just reads the ball off the wall, does a nice little control in front of the front post, and just puts it on home.
Yeah, Prosperity, that's a tough one to read there. I believe that that possession there from Prosperity, I believe, was a bit of a stick on the walls. That's a tough one to make, as your car kind of gets stuck to the wall sometimes if you try to jump off. That was an unfortunate miss there, but the Pandas, once again, commanding lead of 4-0. The Pandas coming out to a huge lead. 4-0 is a huge lead in twos, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to 2v2, goals can happen so fast. Not enough time, though. It seems like the Pandas are, in fact, going to take game one here, so there are only 20 seconds to go, but we've seen a lot of promising possession from the Shadow. The first 2.5 minutes were pretty rough. The Pandas pretty much held the possession clock pretty much the entire time, but we see the Shadow with some quick counterattacks, doing a great job of putting a lot of offense in front, presenting a lot of offense in front of the goal, that is, but it just seems like the Pandas are just really calm on offense and not giving the Shadow any chances at net.
Yeah, as the ball's going to hit the ground, and that's going to take us in the end of game number one. Pandas win at a score of 4-0. Yeah, just like you said, Pandy, before we even got into the game, Pandas came out. They came out real quick. They came out real fast. They were putting a lot of pressure on the goals. 9 shots to 5 shots against the Shadow. Definitely putting a lot of pressure on that Shadow's defense, definitely trying to see what that team chemistry is made of, and they look like they just chipped away at it all game long.
Yeah, we talked about team chemistry from the very beginning. The Shadow, we said that they were going to have a really strong presence in team chemistry. It's going to be really hard to break that bond, but the Pandas doing a fantastic job of that, getting some really awkward goals in, placing some really difficult shots to save. It seems like the Shadow really struggled in that first 2.5 minutes to get settled, but once they did get settled, it took them about 2.5, 3 minutes to get settled. But as we said, as soon as they did, we saw some presence, some offensive presence in the other half. We saw some shots on the green backboard. We saw some shots off the green post, but unfortunately for them, we didn't see it in the green net per se, but 5 shots. Definitely a very good job from the Shadow in the back half of that game. We'll just see how they can take that successes that they saw, only giving up 1 goal as opposed to 3. We'll see how they can move it into Neo Tokyo in game 2.
Absolutely. I definitely would have loved to see the Shadows score a goal on the back end of that game, bringing it forward into game number 2. But yeah, that definitely chemistry looked a lot better in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes of the game. It's definitely seemed like they got their bearings underway, and I'm very looking forward to see what the Shadow are going to put together now that they've seen what Yellow and Knuckle are bringing to the table.
Yeah, Knuckle there off the kickoff, looking to get this offense started early from the Pandas. As you see a good infield touch there from Yellow off the wall. She's been the facilitator this entire series. 4 goals on 6 shots last game. Is well, we can call Knuckle the facilitator last game. But we saw Yellow getting in there, getting physical, getting demos as many times as she could. As it was definitely a fantastic job from them. But once again, the Shadow, we saw some great promise in the back half of last game. Amp trying to get this offense started for the Shadow. We saw Prosperity now trying to find a touch there. It's a little bit awkward, but Yellow is going to have a great coverage. The midfield clear from Knuckles, going to put some pressure on Amp in the back end. As we see that flip there, possession a little bit loose, but Yellow is going to scoop it up. Prosperity there to continue that pressure from the Shadow off the backboard now, looking for Amp midfield, but that one just wide of the net. That shot needs to be at least put on goal with Sabayaki. Otherwise, I'm not too convinced as of now that the Shadow are going to be able to take down this Pandas team that's so patient on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could see what his thought process there, trying to hit the back post. Unfortunately, he does hit it a little wide, as you were stating. Probably would have liked to see that more or less hitting off of the crossbar, maybe, to give his team a little something there. But as we were talking about that, Knuckle intercepts a ball, pounces it off. Yellow intercepts a ball away from the Shadow's defense, bounces off of the corner. Knuckle happens just to be floating in midfield, and he's just able to get a nice little shot in the upper right corner of the net to give the Pandas yet again the first goal of the game.
As we said, Yellow the facilitator, I cannot say that word right now, as Yellow is doing a fantastic job of forcing plays and getting the Shadow as awkward as possible on defense. She's been doing a fantastic job of that thus far, as we see Knuckle looking for Yellow midfield, as this midfield pass plays from the Pandas offense thus far is really strong, and the Shadow are really struggling to defend it, but Prosperity just able to cover that one up. As once again, the Pandas off the kickoff getting straight back in the offensive zone, but Amp, the first counterattack we've seen this game, 2 minutes in, but Knuckle quickly able to defuse that and get the ball back out. Knuckle free clear, downfield looking for Knuckle in the corner, but the midfield pass back to Yellow is going to be good enough, but just off the post, it reaches out and takes that shot away.
Wow, absolutely great shot opportunity from Yellow. Comes up just a little wide. And but man, that was a really great shot opportunity for Yellow there. I don't know what the Shadow have been doing this game. It really just seems to me personally that the Pandas are just faster, and they're just outplaying them. They're just getting to the ball faster on every end of the field. Their side, the opponent's side. Anytime the Shadow go and touch the ball, to me, there's just always a Panda somewhere around, except for that touch right there, as Prosperity has a very open net and a great shot opportunity for him to tie up the game.
Yeah, we saw Knuckle kind of flying past that one. I believe Knuckle saw a vision downfield. Yellow was wide open on that pass play. But I definitely think you're right on that front. The Pandas are the faster team. That's the kind of thing that we expected. But the Shadow, we know that they're going to play a little bit more grounded. They're going to play a really strong 50 game as we have seen thus far. But it just seems like you said, the Pandas are just outspeeding the Shadow just by a little bit. But this game definitely looking a lot fresher for the Shadows. They have only given up 1 goal, whereas last game they had already given up 3 and not even scored 1. So capitalizing on mistakes, the Shadow have done that once already this game. It has netted them a goal thus far. But definitely this game is a lot closer than the previous one, as the Amp is going to have a long field clear. Knuckle is going to have to just get back for that one, as we see the Shadow presenting some troubles here for the Pandas in this one, as it is about 3.5 minutes gone in this game, and it seems like this game much closer.
Absolutely. You know, the Shadow are playing, you know, it's almost like the hare and the tortoise. You know, Shadow are playing the slow, steady game, definitely grinding down at the pace of which the Pandas are going to be able to keep up. I mean, definitely they came out strong, but there's no way they're going to be able to keep this up all 5 games if they can. Fantastic stamina on their part, but the Shadow are they're taking their opportunities. They're doing it very methodically. They're definitely winning more of the 50 opportunities in this game and playing a lot more smarter. Positioning wise for the Shadow has been a lot cleaner this second game than it was the first game. And yeah, they're definitely breathing some life in with that goal, you know, giving themselves an opportunity to keep the series alive for them. I definitely like what the Shadow are doing, and I hope they can keep it up.
That's one thing that we haven't seen all that much of this game is demos. The Pandas last game registering, I believe, 5 demos in the first couple of minutes, which led to some goals for them, especially that triple demo goal from Yellow. As that's the first time we've really seen some physical play this game, and it seems like that is in the favor of the Shadow thus far. But we saw some demos there. The Shadow could have had a mounting offense, but some demos took that away. Yellow's gonna have a chance. Double tap possibility off the backboard, but the angle not tight enough. Prosperity is gonna run away with that one, as that was a close chance from Yellow. But Prosperity sidewall read, the flip reset goes just too low, as Knuckles gonna run away with that one. Yellow counterattack for the Pandas, 13 seconds to go. No one midfield for Knuckles pass, but Amp headed back the other way, looking to get a last second goal and steal a game for the Shadow. Amp the flick, Knuckle read it way too early, but Prosperity once again, Shadow defense coming in clutch for the Shadow. But this game, despite the fact that we saw some close chances, will go to OT.
Absolutely. As we get underway in game number 2, first OT of the series, possession goes in favor of the Pandas. Knuckles going to try and take it across. Prosperity does not get the touch on it, and Knuckle is able to just dink the ball in. 7 seconds in overtime, and the Pandas take game number 2.
Not the way you want to lose a game. Prosperity, that touch is really hard to make. We saw them miss on it just last game, as that's a really tough one to lose on. Knuckle will take that one, scratch his head, turn the other way, and walk into the gate of game 3. Pandas run away with that one, 2-1. Massive credit to the Shadow, though. They hung on the entire match, despite the fact that it was kind of a giveaway goal there in overtime. It's a tough one to lose on, but the Shadow were in it the entire time, whereas last game they kind of lost it in the first couple of minutes. So huge change of pace for them. Unfortunately, they're now down on series point, despite the fact that we do play off 5 here at MLE. But the Shadow definitely breathing signs of life, as you said, but the Pandas once again just kind of running away with that one.
Absolutely, but then again, let's not take credit away from the Shadow. I mean, granted, that first game, it definitely felt like they got swept completely. However, this game, they definitely were playing a lot more defensively, taking a lot of their shooting lanes away from the Pandas. They were definitely pressuring the ball more. The Pandas had 9 shots last game. The Shadow were able to keep them to 5 shots for this game. And then putting 4 shots on themselves. So they were definitely playing a lot more defensively, a lot more communication, I would say, was going on between them. They definitely knew where each other were at all times. And again, they were taking those shooting lanes away from the other team. The positioning that the Shadow players were doing last game was perfect. They should definitely bring that into this game. And kind of try and slow the game down a little bit, play more of their like you said, their ground game, their pass play game. I think if they could do that they may be able to turn the series around.
Yeah, and kind of to build off of that, we see this is the first roster we have seen other than Yeezy and Alizai in 2s. So Knuckle and Yellow are just looking to try and figure things out as much as they can, see what works, see what doesn't. And we've seen a lot of things that work for them, playing very fast, trying to play their own game, and definitely physical play is one thing that has been a huge contributor to their success so far in this one, despite the fact it has only been 2 games. Prosperity off the kickoff, beautiful play, but once again, Knuckles just able to keep it out of his net. And again, physical play is going to open up a chance here from Prosperity. The touch on defense is not going to be enough to get it out. And once again, the physical play from the Pandas just are going to be too far overbearing for the Shadow to deal with. And the Pandas will strike first once again.
Yeah, Yellow had that nice demo on the return, able to get the ball there. Unfortunately, the Shadows defenders got a bad touch on the ball, didn't pop up as high as they wanted it to. Knuckle was just sitting right in the middle of the field, as he always is, waiting on that pass from Yellow, and just hammers it home. And again, for the third game in a row, the Pandas take the first goal.
Oh, that's a great flick from Yellow, but Amp read it early. That's another chance there, as the Pandas definitely presenting a lot of pressure that the Shadow are definitely, I would say, doing a great job of dealing with thus far. But again, as I said, the Pandas have done a great job of playing physical. This is one thing that we saw last game that was a little bit lackluster from them, was the fact that they didn't go for demos until late in the game, and that's when they started to score. But oh no, not the way you want to put it in. Knuckle returns the favor from Prosperity in OT last game, and Amp will run away with this one.
Wow. Definitely hate to see the own goal. Great position by, great job positioning himself on the side of the wall to get the redirect. Sometimes all you gotta do is just put the ball on the net, and sometimes the defenders will do it for you and help you put it home. Yellow!
Wow. What a play there from the Pandas, from end to end. Knuckle making a fantastic save off the kickoff, and the Shadow were for sure that ball was going to go in, but Yellow read it super early, read the save from Knuckle and said, hey, we've got an open net here. These guys are not in position, and taking over the last two defenders, and the Pandas will take their lead back once again.
He corkscrewed over both defenders. Into that great shot. Great shot. I have no words for it. I don't even know how to describe that. I don't see that ever.
Well, I guess the only way to describe it is to type !POTW in chat. Once again, is sponsored by Balls Guarana. As we see Amp with a powerful shot midfield, gets the bump on Yellow and at Prosperity. The touch just not hard enough. And once again, we see the Pandas are going to run away with this one. Yellow counterattack, wide open net to work with, but Yellow, oh man, almost slots that, just barely slots that one. That was a close chance there. Yeah, but counterattack, that's a tough one.
Yeah, definitely great read by Yellow to get the ball away from the Shadow, get it all the way down the other end of the field. He tried to be a little bit too fancy there. I think with the double touch, he almost misses it. Luckily, he's able to jam it in. And the Pandas are just taking a commanding lead in this game 3. Definitely looking like they're trying to close the series out in this game. I'm seeing the aggressivity that you were talking about in the first game coming back more this game. They kind of laid off of it in game number 2, picked it up near the end. Definitely brought it back within the first couple minutes of this game. They've been playing very aggressive. They've been playing very tight to the Shadow players, bumping them, hitting them, knocking them out of the way, positioning themselves to intercept the ball at every opportunity. As Prosperity is going to get it across midfield. He's got one to beat, comes across the back wall, gets the demo, Amp gets the touch, saved by Knuckle. Was that Knuckle? It was not Knuckle, it was Yellow. As Knuckle takes it around the corner, gets it past Amp, does not. Prosperity trying to get it by Yellow. Yellow's going to dump it into the corner. Amp looking to get the ball to his teammate. He's unable to do so. Demos Knuckle in transition to the backside. Get the ball across midfield. Yellow's going to clear it over to Prosperity. Gets it over Prosperity. Knuckle gets a nice shot. Amp is there to clear it into the corner. Yellow going up, gets a nice touch on the ball, hits off the back wall, over Prosperity. Knuckle comes in, gets the touch, and puts the ball in the goal, giving his team a 3-goal lead. Pandas are back to that 4 goals.
Yeah, that was a prime example of the Pandas just choking out that Shadow defense. The ball was in the Shadow half for the better part of 30 seconds. We saw the Pandas just flying all over the ball in different angles, forcing the Shadow just to every possible position they wanted them to be in, especially in those awkward spots. And the Pandas just, they controlled the boost, they controlled the positioning, and they basically forced the Shadow into a position that they did not want to be in on defense specifically. Great job by Knuckle there to find it on the left side of the net. That's a great lead once again for the Pandas.
Absolutely. Amp gets a nice turnaround, and he's going to be, nice fast turnaround for Amp there to realize that the ball was coming right to him. Nice demo by Prosperity to get the Pandas defender out of the net. Amp has a wide open goal. He's able to hone it in, chipping away at that lead. Brings the Shadow to down by 2 still. plenty of time left in this game. I think if they could just if they could try to slow the Pandas down and get back to playing their game the way that they were at the end of last game, I definitely think the Shadows still have an opportunity to win this. But the Pandas do not look like they are giving up. They are definitely putting a lot of pressure and demos on the Shadow with 50 seconds left in game number 3.
Yeah, definitely the Shadow. We're looking to try and control the pace of this game. We see Prosperity there, forcing that last goal with some physical plays. That is one thing we haven't seen much of from the Shadows so far in this one, is the demos aspect of the game. But Amp, the flip reset off the crossbar, is it going to be enough? Prosperity is able to poke it in at the end. That is a beautiful play to get the Pandas, or to cut the Pandas lead to 1.
Absolutely. Great play by Amp. He does get the reset. Hits right inside the net, bounces, a little down Barsky, doesn't go in his favor. Prosperity with a nice read, able to finish that amazing shot from his teammate. Cuts the lead down by 1 with 30 seconds left. Prosperity's working with the ball in his own corner, trying to get across midfield. Nice touch by Knuckle to no one, and Amp is able to 50 it away, but not from Yellow. Yellow's going to hit it back into the opposite corner to an awaiting Knuckle, who passes it over to Yellow. Yellow cannot get his car turned around fast enough, but he is going to play it out of the corner. Great 50 for the Pandas. Unfortunately, Knuckle is not there. Amp's going to try and take it around. 9 seconds left. One more opportunity for the Shadow to try and do something. Yellow reads it off the sidewall. Nice little touch on... Oh, nobody there to finish it? No, Knuckle's there to finish it.
That's rude. On the 0 seconds there, just kind of making the fake play happen. Unfortunately, the Shadow, we saw some chances there to get this game tied up, but the Pandas held strong once again, stood tall right in front of the opposing Shadow. They will take this one. They'll take the series win here, but we play off 5 once again. The Pandas up 3-0 in the series, but once again, we saw some promise from the Shadow. 3 goals there, 6 shots from the Shadow, 3 apiece from each tan card there. As the Pandas once again held strong. Great job by Knuckle finding some goals. Yellow again facilitating some there. As we saw some sloppy play in the first few minutes. It's unfortunately something that you don't see, or fortunately something you don't see too often in PL, but it's definitely something you have to consider. Some teams may struggle to find their footing, and in this game I think definitely was the example of that. But once again, the Pandas hold strong. They come out with the win, and the Shadow just once again just that one step behind the Pandas. I definitely think they have a chance, still have a chance in this series. They're just going to need to find some pieces of the puzzle and start getting them put together.
Yeah, definitely. They don't want to get down on themselves. There's still 2 games left. It is a division matchup. So you want to get every possible game that you can get. That's why we play all 5 in MLE. Every game matters. It could come down to one particular game, maybe 2 games. That if they won, if they lost, could have put them, can put them, may put them in the playoffs. So you definitely don't want to give up right now. Again, they're not playing bad. They're just getting beat by a better team, unfortunately. And I don't think they thought that was going to happen to them coming into this. But, they already lost the series. I think they buckle down now. They play a little bit more physical. They get more shot opportunities. They keep the ball away from the Pandas. And they just focus on playing one game at a time from now on. And just try to get as many W's out of this as they can.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like the moral of the story here, is you never give up in these 5-game series. Playoff stints can definitely come down to 1 or 2 games. We see teams missing out on playoffs by just a handful of games every season, most of the time by 1. So it's just up to the Shadow to see how well they can take their successes, their little victories from each game, and try to piece them together. As we saw last game, we saw the Shadow getting really physical for the first time this series, and we saw them net some goals as a result of it. But once again, the Pandas just outspeeding them. There's a play. Knuckle on 0 boost, just able to get it done, catching the Shadow out of position, and the Pandas for the 4th time in a row will start the game with a goal.
So many good faking opportunities there from Knuckle. At one point he looked like he was going to pass the Yellow, and then he just flicked it right over to the defender. Again, 4th game in a row, the Pandas take the first goal of the game. They take it very fast. They take it very aggressively. And I want the Shadow to get a win. I want them to be able to find that chemistry. I want to see, what makes these 2 players, predominant PL players. And the Panthers are just not giving them an opportunity to do that. They're being very aggressive. They're being ball bullies, and I love to see it. I mean, I hate to see it for the Shadow, but I love to see it on the Pandas. Like, they're just dominating these games. They're coming out, they're showing their presence, they're positioning themselves well, they're rotating well, they're working well together, they're communicating well, except for that play right there, as the ball gets past Yellow by just a hair, and Prosperity is able to put the equalizer in and breathes another life opportunity into this game for his team.
That's a great job once again by Amp, making some plays happen. Double 50 there, as we have said this entire time. The Shadow team are going to be a bit more grounded. They're going to be winning the 50 games specifically against a team that is faster than them, like the Pandas. That's a great job by Amp, making that play happen. The double 50 there, forcing it mid for Prosperity. They'll find the angle there. This game is now tied, but the bump from Knuckle is not going to be enough. Yellow just couldn't find the angle there, as we see the Shadow just kind of struggling to gain their footing here. It seems like both teams are just playing what in the world was that? Prosperity, huge 50 long field goal. The Shadow take their first lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so looks like just an unfortunate 50, but good favor for the Shadow. Able to dunk it over Yellow, off Yellow's car. Ricochets all the way back into the Pandas' goal. The Shadow are going to find their first lead of this series as Yellow tries to put the equalizer in, and it is cleared away by Amp. Amp trying to take it across midfield, gets past one, cannot get it past two, does get the demo on Yellow, as he's going to try and get the ball midfield for his teammate, 50 by Knuckle, going in favor of the Pandas. Unfortunately, Yellow and Prosperity unable to either touch the ball. Amp is going to control on top of his car, driving it down. 1 to B, gets the flick, gets it just past Knuckle. I want to say he got it past Knuckle. Knuckle did get a piece of the ball, able to pop it up in the top of the goal. You know, nice little Bardowski bouncing up and down. Yellow unable to come back around on it, as Prosperity comes back in to finish up what Amp started, and the Shadow are going to take a 2-goal lead in game number 4.
This is a definite change in momentum here for the Shadow. As we said, we can't count them out at any time in this series, as this one is just too close. The Pandas definitely, we can say, are dominating as far as the scoreline aspect of the game goes, but Amp once again to power another shot through the pass from Prosperity off the side wall. Just got the job done over Knuckle. As we saw, Yellow was just up too far at the top of the field, but Amp is there to read it off the backboard. The Shadow 3-goal lead here, but once again, Wasabiaki, as you said, we see the Shadow with definite change of pace here. The momentum is kind of back in their direction despite the scoreline in the first 3 games, but definitely see some signs of life here from the Shadow. We see some more consistent play coming out from these guys. It seems like the Pandas maybe just a bit too complacent with their 3-0 lead, kind of giving up some easy goals here for the Shadow.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that the Pandas have definitely lacked.
Man.
Regardless of what just happened now, I'm still going to finish my statement. The Pandas have definitely relaxed a little bit in this game. The Shadow definitely been picking up the pace here, you know, getting to the ball first. And it seems to be the key to this series, you know, thus far. You know, whoever can get to the ball first, whoever can control the ball better, seems to be able to put the opposing team in a greater deficit to make a play. And, you know, the Shadow have just been getting to the ball first. They've been putting a lot more pressure on. They've been being a lot more physical. They've been taking a lot more shot opportunities there. And I know I cut myself off. I don't want to take away from Yellow's goal. Yellow did have a really great goal on the back end there to give the Pandas another goal in this series, cutting their lead, the Shadow's lead by 2. But again, to me, the Shadow are just playing very physical this game, whereas the Pandas, to me, have just seemed like they've laxed up a little bit. You know, maybe that they're comfortable with that 3-0 lead.
Yeah, it's a great job by Knuckle once again to slot a third one. That's our hat trick from Knuckle, as we saw him beat the defender Amp on that side wall, kind of controlling the touch back to himself. Prosperity, that's rough positioning there on defense. You never want to give up that kind of an easy angle there off the backboard, as I can't say that was an easy angle for Knuckle to score, but definitely Prosperity put himself in a tough spot to save that one, as he kind of cheated too far out of the net, kind of didn't put himself in the best possible position there to read a touch off the backboard that Knuckle was presenting. But the Pandas back within 1. Here's another threatening shot. Prosperity once again to diffuse that pressure back to the backboard, as Amp with the long field clear to find Prosperity on the left wall, looking to play that one off the backboard. Knuckle can't find that boost off Prosperity, but Yellow once again there to swoop in and assist the teammate there, as Knuckle was struggling just a little bit to gain his footing. But now the Pandas back on the offensive, as with A minute and 5 seconds to go for the Pandas to work with. 1 goal needed to bring this thing back, but the net is wide open. Amp is going to struggle with positioning. Yellow to get it all done herself, and what a goal to get the Pandas back tied.
Yellow is pulling out the flare and being all fancy. Nice play off of the corner. Way to get off of the wall and position themselves in front of the net. And a nice little double touch there to themselves off the corner to put the equalizer in and give the Pandas an opportunity to take the series, game number 4 in the series. Unfortunate 50 at kickoff. Kind of both shadow defenders kind of pinched in on that, and Knuckle was just able to get a nice little touch over that, floated into the back of the net, and the Pandas are going to take the lead back in game number 4, 54 seconds left. So we get kickoff underway in favor of the Pandas. Knuckle and Amp are fighting in the corner. Amp coming off his own wall, trying to float it past Yellow. Yellow's going to get a touch. Prosperity bounces it back out. Amp gets a nice little 50 off of Yellow to try to get it past. Tries to get a shot on it. Great block by Knuckle. Yellow playing a little fake there. Misses the ball. Prosperity's going to put a shot on. Knuckle sitting in net to defend it. Now Knuckle takes it across midfield, playing it out of the corner. Ooh, bad touch by Amp, but it kind of goes across his net. Prosperity able to take it around the horn. Both shadow defenders kind of bump into each other at midfield. They're trying to find their footing. Knuckle's going to take the ball across midfield, looking for Yellow. Bounce off the ground, tries to get the other touch. Prosperity there to clear it away. Yellow, Prosperity, Amp, everybody's looking for it. Ball in the middle of the field. Knuckle's going to clear it away. And I think the Pandas are going to take game number 4.
Yeah, the lack of momentum there from the Shadow, we saw it all in their favor. They went up 4-1 in that game, and the Pandas were like, hey, we're not done yet. We were maybe played a little bit more relaxed at the first part of that game, but we're down 3 goals here. We need to get started back up, get going back on offense, and they did that. They saw 4 unanswered goals there to finish out the game. The Pandas definitely able to scrape back and find a win there. That's a tough one for Prosperity and Amp to lose, especially with we saw the momentum shift quickly in the favor of the Shadow, and as quickly as they got that momentum, it was brought straight back to the Pandas. So fantastic job by the Pandas recognizing, hey, we're down in this one. We need to bring it back here. We need the momentum back in our direction. We don't want to drop any games here, especially because the number 1 seed is on the line.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Once again, the Pandas continuing that. They'll take the 4th game and secure the 1st seed.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the Shadow definitely, they picked up the intensity. They were playing a lot more aggressive. They were putting a lot more pressure on. It seemed that they went up by 2 goals, and then all of a sudden they kind of just resorted back to their, their defensive mindset, I guess you could say. They kind of slowed up, gave the Pandas an opportunity to take back the pace of the game. And then they just had 4 unanswered goals that the Shadow couldn't do anything about. And like I said, the Pandas are definitely just coming out here and just dominating the series.
I feel like that's a textbook example of what not to do in 2s. Unfortunately, it's a fantastic job by the Shadow, yes, to get a 4-1 lead, especially after dropping the first 3 games, that presenting a lot of pressure on the Pandas, and 4 goals is really hard to get, especially against a team as strong as the Pandas. But what we saw change for them was the fact that once they got that lead, they were like, hey, let's just try and play conservative. Let's try and hold this lead. Let's drop back on defense, and let's try not to give up any goals. That forces you to play slower, and that forces you to change your pace in the game. And the other team says, hey, these guys are going to drop back. Let's just try and put as many shots as we can, especially with how fast the Pandas play. They're going to find the net eventually, and there was way too much time left for the Shadow to play defensive, and unfortunately they dropped that game, but they're right back to work here as they get a goal to start the game.
Absolutely. That great teamwork and communication by Prosperity and Amp. I know Amp kind of got a little touchy there and stole Prosperity's goal, but I mean, again, great opportunity for the Shadow. They were able to get it past the Pandas defender with a nice little 1-2 real early in the game. I like the pressure. I like the intensity. I like them getting that early goal right out front. Asserting their dominance early in this last game. It is the last game of the series. They are down by 4. They definitely want to try and get a win out of here. And I definitely think they're capable of doing it. I think last game, like we were talking about, they did lax up after getting that lead. They went the defensive route. And and again, as an FL player, I'd just like to see a little bit like more. Like I saw the pressure, I saw the intensity, and I was feeling it. I was waiting for it. I wanted more of it. And then they just slowed up on me and had it get it back from the Pandas. Really great shot opportunity there by Knuckle as he tries to dribble it in. It is cleared away by Prosperity, but man, that was a real great air dribble.
Yeah, we definitely see the Shadow here just trying to play more offensive. They're trying to continue the pressure that they have seen in the first half of this game, but Yellow's going to make that tough on him. The pinch midfield to Knuckle was just a bit too fast for him to read there. Knuckle's going to try and just kind of regain that possession that he lost there off the pinch from Yellow midfield. But like you said, the Shadow are definitely trying to continue that pressure. They're not going to slow up, as we saw. That's the mistake they made last game. They're realizing, hey, we got a lead. We played slow, and unfortunately we lost that game, but there we go. The Pandas working it back again into the corner. Knuckle facilitating a pass, and Yellow there to finish it off.
Absolutely, and it's been like that all night long. Knuckle working hard out of the corners, looking for Yellow in the midfield, able to get her to pass the Shadows defenders, working it one way, working it the other way, bouncing it off the corner, coming off the sidewall, playing it off the ceiling. He's just been doing everything he possibly can, and Yellow's just been there constantly. The one constant of this entire game, Yellow in the middle of the field waiting for the ball.
Yeah.
And it's been working for him. So, I mean, I'm not saying change it, but it's great to know that you can put the work in, and as long as you get it to the middle of the field, you're at least going to have a teammate there who's going to try and make some type of shot play or some type of offensive charge to get the ball into the net. And I've been loving to see it all game from the Pandas.
We see Knuckle there once again trying to continue that pressure from the Pandas, but Amp on the counterattack is looking to put some pressure on Yellow once again in their half. But Knuckle, once again, we're going to see them pushing this ball further into the Shadow corner, but Amp to just able to diffuse some pressure there now, as it seems like this ball has just been back and forth for the last couple of minutes after that last goal there from the Pandas. But Prosperity looking to get a shot. This one was just too off the mark, but Knuckle covers that one in the corner. Once again, the shot from Prosperity to put some pressure on Knuckle, but Knuckle back to the corner. This game still tied, 2 minutes to go. The Pandas with a 4-0 series lead, but the Shadow are just not done yet. We see Amp collecting that one midfield. Now to the sidewall. Knuckle just going to try and read this one and Shadow defend to give Yellow some time to get back, but Amp trying to force a 50. That's a huge backflip 50 from Knuckle, as Yellow's going to chase that one down, play it midfield to Knuckle, but Amp just gets that clear over one. He's gonna have a chance on net here. That touch, impossible to read. He does the impossible job, but that touch just off the mark, and that would have been play of the week caliber 100%.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. That was, oh my God, Amp, where did you get that angle from, my man?
Oh, what a shot from Knuckle to get the Pandas back in the lead, as that shot entire play started by Knuckle. Amp got just a bit too aggressive there on defense, forced that one off the backboard, and that's a really easy read for Knuckle.
I do want to give Yellow some credit on that, though, not going for the touch there. Having the fortitude to be like, hey, I need to, not touch this ball. And then, letting the other player, fly past before they decided to go ahead and touch it. I think if they would have went for it a little bit sooner, it would have just bounced right off of the other Shadow player into the back of the net. It's a really great read there by Yellow to not touch that ball, to have the patience to wait on that.
The Pandas back in the lead here, but Amp trying to control the bleeding, as we have seen. The Pandas playing so aggressive on offense. Prosperity is going to have a 2-on-1 advantage for the Shadow. The split back from Amp. The pressure is just too much for Knuckle to handle, and the Shadow have tied the game.
Absolutely. Really great by Prosperity to hold it there, to force Knuckle to come across the net. He does try to flip. Knuckle gets the touch on it. Unfortunately, he cleared it right to Prosperity, who came across the opposite side of the net to hit back post. Really great goal to tie this game up for your team. Now, that's the type of plays that I wanted to see from them all series long.
Yeah, that's a great read by Amp there. Just kind of reading the rebound that was going to be wide open, but he pushes up a bit too far. Here's a mistake for the Shadow defense. Knuckle is just going to let it roll in. Credit to Yellow for the goal and the cross-map goal. What actually just happened? Yellow got bumped in the corner of the Pandas into that ball and was scored off of that. What in the world was that?
that was a third Shadow pull shot of the season.
Of this series, yes, of this series. But 19 seconds, unfortunate break there from the Shadow as Prosperity's going to try and get this one back. That's a tough one to read as Amp trying to dish that one there to the sidewall. Yellow looking just to kill this clock, burn the time down. The Doomsy dish, no good. Amp to the sidewall, looking to give Prosperity some time, but Yellow steals the boost. It's going to try and knock this ball to the sidewall, and that one is not going to be enough for Prosperity to reach. The Pandas are going to take it in a clean sweep.
Absolutely. You know, the Pandas came in, they brought the intensity. As we stated earlier, this is not the Pandas' usual twos team. Knuckle and Yellow came in. They came in fast, they came in hard, they came in strong. They kept the pressure, the intensity, the communication, the teamwork, the plays, the positioning. It was all just perfect for a nice 5-0 sweep over the Shadow. They came in, they played really well. Unfortunately, they just played too lax. They played too defensively, and it came back to bite them in the butt.
Yeah, the Pandas definitely the more prominent team there as far as the offensive presence goes. But again, Knuckle and Yellow there to continue the reign for the Pandas that Yeezy and Alizai began for them. The Shadow set back just a bit as that's a tough one to lose. A stinger 5-0 loss for the Shadow. The Pandas, again, solely on top in the league now, improving to 16-4 in 2v2 PL. That is not an easy feat, especially with the teams that the Pandas have played thus far in the season, including the Lightning and Rhinos, two top 3 teams without a doubt. But we're going to see the Pandas back. We're going to see the Shadow back. That was a great series. The Pandas, again, ultimately taking that one 5-0. Wasabiaki, it's been a pleasure having you in the booth with me tonight. But Guardian Pro Line, get your merch for MLE. Guardian Pro Line, top of the line merchandise for MLE, the sponsor. Beautiful quality merchandise for all 32 franchises, as well as MLE standard merch. Exclamation point Pro Line in chat to go get your merch there. Also, exclamation point Sprocket with their new merch line as well. Sprocket is the developer company that runs alongside MLE for our stats, our standings. Beautiful job from Sprocket. They have a merch line, exclamation point Sprocket in chat. But once again, that's going to do it all for us tonight. The Pandas take this one 5-0. A fantastic night of 2v2 without a doubt. We will see you guys tomorrow night for threes.